So the last thing we have to do is to create a quick menu screen and a help page. So I'm going to start off with the win screen or the lose screen, doesn't really matter. And we're going to make a full copy, which is not without its potential issues because we have animations on things in this case. But let's see how we get on. So we'll just click the new scene button and choose a full copy. We will call this menu. And the first thing I think we need to do is make sure we've not got our bounce animation on this cube. We're going to make it rotate, but you can see there still appears to be keyframes. Anytime you see a value of any kind in Blender that's highlighted in yellow, that means there are keyframes on it. So if we nip back to the action editor, even though we've not got any logic telling it to play this animation, it could potentially cause us problems. So I'm going to just X out that animation on here. And if we just play our menu screen as it is, hopefully there won't be any animation. So that looks fine. So we've got the starting point for our menu screen. I think we can quickly replace this text with our title text. And we can then, I think, move things around a little bit. We'll move our cube icon here across the left-hand side. And I'd like us to reuse these buttons if possible. So I'm going to move them over so that they line up a bit. Move the play again button over so that it lines up. And then I'm going to move it up in the y-axis and leave a space in the middle for our third button. So we're going to duplicate this one with Shift-D. Pull that up with Y to duplicate that on the Y-axis and just pop that in between. And then we can edit some of this text. So this will just say play. This is our main menu. This is going to be our help or controls button, whatever you'd like to do there. And then we can keep quit. So hopefully we can keep the play button. Logic shouldn't need to be changed. That's going to take us to scene 1, level 1. Our quit button will quit the game, and our help button is a duplicate of the play button, so we need to change this to take us to our help screen, which we'll do in a second. I'm just going to scale this up. So now we won't have any animation on this version of our cube. And we're not going to do any keyframe animation here. What we'll do is just a quick always and a simple motion actuator to just rotate that cube on the y-axis. So these are our rotation values, this bottom row, and we will just, you can set this to whatever speed you like. I'm going to say always rotate on the y-axis by 0.3 degrees, and that should look quite nice. And then we need to make our help screen. So we'll do that by just making another duplicate of the menu page. So we'll take another full copy, rename this help. So that might clarify things for keeping purposes. We'll change this to help as well. I'm not going to worry about design here. I'm just going to rattle a couple of things in. All I'm going over here is the basic structure. All right, it's okay. And then we can go for your life when it comes to design. So help title and some help information. At the very least, I'd like to make sure you've got some information on the controls here. So I'm just going to do a Shift-S and put cursor to selected on this help text, Shift-A to add some text in the same place. And just move it down on the y-axis and scale it down a bit. Let's move it over here. Now, because we've got an orthographic camera, we don't have to worry too much about axes because it won't. The objects won't be distorted by perspective. We need to give this text a material, so I think we'll just reuse our coin material for convenience sake. However, it is a requirement of the specification that we have consistent design across all of our screens. So reusing the colors that we've already created is a very good way to do that quite quickly. So we can just select that text, tab into edit mode, and we can fill that with whatever information we want. Might just be as simple as W, S back, A left, E right. And then it'd be great if you could write a bit about the objectives of your game, etc. But for the time being, for the purposes of this video, we'll leave that as it is. We don't need these two buttons. We just need a button to take us back to the menu page from here. This is going to cause us problems. I'll show you why. If I just replace that now with back, and then if we tweak the logic on there for it to take us back to the menu screen, you'll see what happens. I press play, click back, and because the play button on the menu screen is directly below it, it's going to activate that as soon as the game engine switches to our menu page. So the easiest way is just to fudge that for the time being and move this so that it does not line up with any of those three buttons, which is not good functionally. This is an inconsistent user interface, but for the time being, that's what we're going to do, and I will look into a better solution for that and get back to you. So I'm just going to make that a bit smaller and just move that somewhere sensible. And as far as I'm aware, that's basically it. So we've got a menu screen, which takes us to our help page. Nope. Okay. We didn't have a help page when we made that button. We do now. So change that to from level 1 to help. So help page, back to our menu, quit, play, play. We've got the basic structure of a game there. I've left my death plane visible here. If you want to switch that off, I mean, it might be quite nice to give it a red material and make your players aware that you've got that danger there. Or you can switch to the physics properties tab, and you can click the invisible button, which will globally disable it to the render engine. So you can't see that. You play the game. So I'm going to do that for these two, but there's no reason why it can't be visible. And that's the basic structure of your game. So whatever scene is active will be the first scene that appears when you play the game, obviously. If you were to export this as a playable executable file, you need to make sure that you've got the menu scene active when you do that. But otherwise, there will be ways that we can adapt your game so that you can make it something more interesting for yourselves, and we'll look into that as we develop our games over the next few lessons. Okay.